Hey, what's going on? Dr. Ganzo Boogie here again, back for another update video. I got some really cool stuff to show you guys in this one, mostly Blu-rays, and it's going to be another smaller update. I've decided that each month I kind of want to do maybe like 2 to 3 update videos instead of saving everything for the end of the month. Makes it a little bit easier for me, and I figure it gives you guys a little bit more content to watch each week on my channel if you're looking for any to watch. But I'm real excited about what I got here. I got some Scream Factory releases. I actually picked up 3 this week. Got a couple Blue Underground Blu-ray releases and an Anchor Bay Blu-ray release. I also have a DVD here and another comic book. So real excited to show you guys what I picked up in the past couple weeks. And I'm just going to get going, and I'm going to start off with the Scream Factory stuff. First off here we have Wes Craven's The People Under the Stairs, and I figured I should pick this one up because of the recent passing of Wes Craven, and also this had been one of his movies that I had never really liked too much. I remember I watched this once in high school with a couple of my friends, and I remember not liking it that much, not thinking too much of it, and I just never gave it another chance. And I always like to give movies a second chance, especially if it's been like 5 or 6 years since I've seen it, so I gave this one another shot, and I'm really glad that I did, because this was a really fun, interesting Wes Craven movie, and I'm really glad that I gave this one another chance, and glad to add this one to my Scream Factory collection. Got the slip on this one, and if anybody's looking for this right now, FYE is selling this brand new for $19.99, which isn't that bad of a deal for a new Scream Factory release. Alright, next up here, actually, FYE was having a used deal, I think for Labor Day, where they were having, you buy one of their used items and you get another one for $1. So I knew they had a few used Scream Factories lying around there. They didn't have many, but they had a few to pick from. So I was just flipping through those, trying to figure out which ones to get, and these were the ones that I went with. First off here, we have one of the Scream Factory double feature 2-packs, and this comes with Frogs and the Food of the Gods, which is based on an H.G. Wells story. And Frogs I actually own on DVD, but I had never seen it, so glad they upgraded to Blu-ray. And the Food of the Gods has been one that I've always kind of been interested to check out, because I've always been a big fan of H.G. Wells' stories and everything. So I'm looking forward to checking that one out. Pretty nice pack here anyways. Good for another good addition to the Scream Factory collection. And so with that, I was able to get a DVD or a Blu-ray for $1, and so I picked up Mad Max for $1. And although it does not have its slip, which I was a little iffy about, because they do have this one brand new there with the slip, and it's only about 20 bucks. But I picked it up anyways because I figured for $1, why not? I'm not the biggest Mad Max fan. I've actually never seen the first movie. I've seen parts of the 2 sequels. I've definitely seen the second one all the way through, but the third one I'm a little iffy about. And when the new one came out in theaters, I went with my friend Mike and saw it, and it was really good. I was actually surprised how much that I liked it. So I've been wanting to give this one a chance, and for $1, I figured it was a good time to pick this one up for that price. So really glad pick this one up for the collection, and looking forward to checking this one out finally. Right, next up here, I'll finish showing you guys the Blu-rays that I picked up. Just got 3 more here. This is the Anchor Bay one I was talking about, and this is their release of Evil Dead 2 on Blu-ray. I really liked the way this Blu-ray looked. It reminded me of the older Anchor Bay DVD of this movie, which I've always really liked the artwork on, and which I've actually sold my copy of that. So I'm glad they upgraded that onto Blu-ray now. I do have a copy of Evil Dead 2 on DVD, but it's the older Anchor Bay release with the skull poster on the front, and the quality on that release isn't the best. So I've been wanting to upgrade my Evil Dead 2 to Blu-ray. And actually, a couple weeks ago, if you guys might remember, I actually picked up the Lionsgate release of Evil Dead 2 as like a 2-discer that also had the skull face poster on the front of it. Came with the DVD and the Blu-ray, but I actually decided that this one I like a ton more. I love Anchor Bay, and I love how it has the, I would say the middle Anchor Bay logo, not a classic one, but it's not their new one that I'm not the biggest fan of. So I thought this was really cool. I picked this one up used at FYE. It was like $4.99. I was actually really excited about it, and it was one of my favorite things that I picked up that day was this copy of Evil Dead 2. So glad to upgrade to Blu-ray, and glad to also upgrade my Blu-ray copy to a better edition, in my opinion. And this came with a little insert, not what you would normally get in an Anchor Bay DVD, but it came with this that shows some of their other Blu-ray releases. And I was so happy with this DVD. For some reason, I love Anchor Bay, love collecting Blu-rays now, so I just was really happy with the way this Evil Dead 2 looked. So I actually plan on to pick up all of Anchor Bay's classic horror releases. They actually didn't put too many out. They have these four, so you can get Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Halloween, and Evil Dead 2. And then they put out a few more like Hellraiser and Children of the Corn. And I plan to pick all of them up now because, again, like I said, just I'm a huge Anchor Bay fanboy, been for years now, and just recently picking this up sparked a interest for me to collect all of their Blu-ray releases. So looking forward to picking some of those up, and hopefully I'll have some more to show you guys in recent and newer updates that will be coming up soon. So that's Evil Dead 2, Anchor Bay, and like I said, I picked up a few Blue Underground Blu-ray releases, and first up here we have George A. Romero's The Crazies, and this has been a Romero movie that I hadn't seen in a while. Again, I used to own this one on DVD, the Blue Underground DVD in high school, and I always remember liking it back then, and then for one reason or another I ended up trading or selling the DVD off, so I haven't had this movie on any form in years, so I'm glad to pick this one up again, especially on Blu-ray, which I think is really cool since this was my first Blue Underground Blu-ray I picked up. And again, just like the Anchor Bay ones, I was really happy with this, so I plan on picking up a ton more of Blue Underground's Blu-ray releases, especially because you can get them pretty cheap on Amazon. Most of them are like $10 or cheaper, so I plan on picking up a ton of these because there's a lot of Blue Underground releases I don't have yet on DVD, so it'll be a nice way to build up my Blu-ray collection and at the same time get some horror titles that I don't have right now. So this is really cool, The Crazies, and I actually just watched this one last night, and like I said, I've always, back when I used to watch this, when I had it on DVD years ago, I used to like it, and I still really like this movie. I think it's really good. I'm a big fan of George A. Romero's movies, especially his earlier movies like Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead. Those are my two favorite movies he made, and this movie came out right in between those, and I would say it has stuff from both of those. It has things that remind me of Night of the Living Dead and things that remind me of Dawn of the Dead, and I just had a lot of fun watching this. Definitely would recommend this one if you haven't checked out Romero's original classic, Crazies. Yeah, really good stuff. And then I picked up another Blue Underground release, and this one I'm extremely happy about. This is actually one of my favorite Blu-rays in my collection right now, and this is the Blue Underground release of Zombie. And I got this for real cheap. It was like $5-6 brand new, which I thought was a great deal. And I just think this looks awesome. I love how they just used the original movie poster. They didn't mess with it or add any weird stuff around it. There's actually a 2-disc you can get of this, which has a pretty decent cover too. But I actually like this one more based on the cover design, so I picked this one up over the 2-disc. And I've always loved the zombie poster. It's one of my favorite horror movie posters ever. And one of these days I actually have to buy a poster of it. I would love hanging that up in my room. But this is just a really cool, nice, simple-looking Blu-ray. It actually reminds me of the older Anchor Bay DVD that I have. I have a really old Anchor Bay DVD of Zombie, and it basically looks the same as this. So really happy to get this. And that older Anchor Bay release of Zombie actually it isn't the best quality. The transfer on it is a little iffy, so I'm extremely glad to upgrade this to Blu-ray. I'm sure this is 100 times better than that old Anchor Bay release, so really happy about this one. Just an awesome looking Blu-ray, and this is a great movie too. One of my favorite Italian horror movies, and one of my favorite zombie movies here. Really, really cool Blu-ray release. Alright, then I told you guys I have one DVD to show you guys. I also picked this one up at FYE, and this is Candyman. I got this one used for pretty cheap too. It was like $3.99 or $4.99, and this had been another one that I'd never seen before. And I've always wanted to because the Candyman character is iconic, and there's sequels to this, so this is one of the ones that I've always wanted to get around to, but just never had any interest to really check it out. But I picked this one up because it was cheap and it was in good condition, and this is the older DVD release of it. This is the one that I always wanted to pick up over the newer release they put out. I just like the cover design on this a little bit more. And I also watched this one recently too, and I thought it was a pretty good movie. It actually wasn't quite as good as I was expecting it to be, especially since it has sequels and the characters become iconic. It actually was a little underwhelming in my opinion, but in the long run I did think that it was a pretty good horror movie and I enjoyed it. Like the whole story about the Candyman character, it's kind of similar to the Bloody Mary thing where you go into the mirror and you say the killer or the whatever's name a certain amount of times and it, you know, kills you or whatever and everything. And yeah, I thought it was pretty good, even though I thought the main character was kind of an idiot, and she ends up getting caught up in some really like crazy shit. And in my opinion, it's kind of her own fault. But other than that, I did think this was a good movie. Candyman, definitely would recommend this one. And then last up for this video is a comic book, and I picked this one up at a thrift store. And this is actually the only thing I picked up at a thrift store in the past week or so. I always go and check out thrift stores. I check the DVDs, the tapes, and everything. I usually try to go to at least like 2, 3 thrift stores a week just to check around and see if I can find anything cool. And lately I just have not been having the best luck, especially with horror movies. But I'm hoping with Halloween coming around the corner, there'll be a little bit more to pick from. But this I was really excited to find because I didn't even know it existed, and this is one of the 2010 comics, and this is the movie sequel to 2001: A Space Odyssey, which 2001: A Space Odyssey is one of my favorite movies ever, definitely my favorite Stanley Kubrick film, and the sequel, not so much. I haven't seen this movie in 5, 6 years, so maybe it's about time for me to give it another chance, especially now I feel like that I used to just think the first one was such a great movie that I'm like, how can you even try to make a sequel to it? So I just never paid too much attention to that one, but like I said, I do think it's about time to give 2010 Space Odyssey another chance. I actually have the book for this one, which I have read, and the book was pretty decent, and the movie is based on the book, so definitely going to give this movie another shot one of these days. But I was happy to pick up the comic, because just like I said, I didn't know they made comics for this movie, and this is part 2 in an official movie adaptation comic book, so this is really cool. Hopefully I can find part 1 maybe one day. Marvel also did this with 2001: A Space Odyssey, where they put out a big special issue back in the 70s, early 70s, where they adapted the whole 2001 movie into a comic, which I really want to get that. I do have some of the Marvel 2001: A Space Odyssey comics, but I don't have their adaptation of the movie comic. But this is really cool. Glad to pick this one up. I think I only paid $1 for it, so again, really good deal on that. And that was the update for this time around. I hope you guys liked it, like always. And if you did, definitely leave a comment or give it a thumbs up. And I'll see you guys next time.